welcome to my channel. So I started knitting October 2024, and what got me into knitting were the twin sisters, Callie and Kay, knitting their halibut sweater, and I just thought the process was so cool and was essentially like, that's it, I'm buying knitting needles now. Before I started knitting, I do have a background in crochet. I don't want to say it's a very strong one, but it wasn't something that clicked for me. For whatever reason, my tension when I would crochet is a lot tighter than when I knit. And so even though I had all of these nice ergonomic hooks, I just never liked the process. I also didn't like how crochet fabric felt as garments, and I wasn't into the mesh summer top types of shirts, sweaters, so it really just was not for me. But unfortunately 2 years ago I did purchase 2 sweater quantities worth of yarn, and they're crochet sweater quantities, and so since then I've been slowly trying to, you know, make things and get rid of it, but nothing clicked and I don't like it. And when I see crochet nowadays, there's not very many things that makes me want to jump and do it. With knitting, I have the exact opposite reaction. So this is the Hanstholm sweater by Petite knit. I believe it is one of her older patterns, and I knit this up with Noro yarn, and I will put the name right here. It is a silk wool blend. I intended to make it for my fiance who runs Super Hot, and when I mean run super hot, I mean for 2 years when we lived in a college apartment, we had the heater going on, but then also window ACs also going off, and all year round. Also for reference, we live in the Midwest where it snows, and it snows hard. So I knew I didn't want to get him a 100% wool sweater because I wanted him to enjoy wearing it, and also I wanted him to be able to wear it indoors. The yarn is spun single ply, and it was pretty inconsistent in terms of thickness. And what I mean by that, there would be strands that would be like bulky weight, and then it would be followed by yards and yards of fingering weight, and so it was pretty inconsistent, though it says that it is worsted. A lot of people on Ravelry said that they found the yarn to be closer to DK, and so I felt comfortable using this yarn with the pattern. I actually met gauge the first time, and because of the inconsistency of the thickness of the yarn, I did have to make a bigger gauge swatch and take an average of all of that. I got pretty close, and by pretty close I mean I was 0.1% away, like stitches away, but I consider that meeting gauge. So I thought I would be set when knitting the sweater, but I actually had to frog quite literally every single part of the sweater. So first things first, when I cast it on a random number. It wasn't a number to choose from in the list of sizes and numbers, and so I just made something up in my head and casted it on. So I had to frog all of that. And then this was my first time doing German short rows. On my very first knit project, I didn't do German short rows, and it was just a regular raglan sweater. But for this one, because I was using such nice yarn, and because this was not going to be just on me, I wanted it to look a lot more professional, so to speak. With it being my first time doing German short rows, it was super rough. I had really tight tension because it was my first time doing it, but also I learned that I was twisting my pearls, and I knit continental, so if you know, you know that purling continental absolutely sucks. So I struggled through that the first time, quite literally finished the yoke. I did the amount of rows that the pattern said to do, and it was so small. I literally spent about 8 hours on the sweater at that point, and we went on vacation to Nashville for a concert, and so I finished the yoke all the way to Nashville, and I was so happy, and I was thinking, oh my goodness, I'm almost done with the yoke. I could probably be done with the body by the time I come back home. No, because when we landed in Nashville and I had him try it on, it like went up to here on him. And, you know, I was like, maybe this is just because I did German short rows, so the back is longer, which might make it work. No, it didn't. And so I frogged the whole thing, and quite literally, I was in the hotel room frogging the entire project, and it sucked so much. So when I recast it on, I actually did a smaller collar, which I don't mind, but I do wish it was a little bit thicker, but I still think it looks great. I did a better job on the German short rows. At the increases on the first German short rows, there were a lot of holes because I was just figuring things out, and I dropped a stitch, so I kind of had to sew it up. It looked really bad, so I'm really glad that I did restart. Once I was done with the yoke and it was fitting, I did the body and then I did the ribbing. Then I had my fiance try it on, and it was shorter than what we wanted it to be. So I had to frog back all of the ribbing and then knit some more, redid the ribbing. Then when I got to the arms, the decreases that is on the pattern was not enough. It was going to be like huge. It was essentially going to be like body width, and that was not vibing with me. It wasn't vibing with Mr. Knitwear Diaries, and so I frogged the entire arm. And when I mean the entire arm, I mean I was about to start the ribbing and then I had him try it on. So I frogged and restarted and decreased twice as much as the pattern said, and I'm glad I did that. I like the look. And then I did the other arm, and thankfully I did not have to frog it. I had a lot of issues with this pattern, clearly, and I thought it was just a me issue, but upon looking at other YouTube knitting podcasts who also have knit this sweater, I wasn't the only one who had sizing issues despite meeting gauge. Because after I frogged the second time, when I frogged the yoke, I ended up knitting a size bigger and then also knitting with bigger needles. I personally think that's absurd, especially since meeting gauge, but other people had similar issues. So I feel very vindicated that it was not just me being a beginner and it was the pattern. This was Petite Knit's earlier pattern, I believe, and so I am excited to try out one of her newer patterns. But yeah, it was rough and it was hard. I will now insert clips of Mr. Knitwear trying it on. How do you feel?
I love it. I love the sleeves. They fit me perfectly. I love the colors. It's very pretty.
The length?
It's very good. It's what I wanted because I don't like it coming up if I were to sit back or whatever. So
how do you feel about the arms?
Very good. It's decreased properly for me. I don't like them baggy. I like them arm fitting. So.
And turn around. Short rows are German.
Yeah. I like it. It's a cute vibe. It goes with my eyes. I love it. Thank you.
I have the spicy.
I don't care.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. I'm Mr. Knitwear Diaries.
Yes, this is Mr. Knitwear Diaries showing off the sweater. So next I wanted to talk to you about my next ventures. So I plan on knitting the Flurry sweater by Ullin Knitwear, and the yarn I bought is Cascade 220 Heathers in color 2431 and also color 8021. I bought this at my local yarn store, and I felt so bad for the lady helping me out because I was genuinely looking at yarn for an hour before I finally made a decision, and then just bought neutral colors. So the pattern is described as a beginner color work sweater, and it looks very approachable because you are kind of just switching the main color and the contrasting color, and so I have a lot of high hopes and I hope it turns out well. The pattern does call for a bulky yarn, and I believe that's size 5, and I purchased, I believe this is size 4, so it's one size down, but the pattern has a positive 45 centimeter ease, and I don't want it to be that baggy on me because I also want to wear it at work, and I'm also going to be cropping it because I don't want it as long as it is in the pattern. So I think it will be fine. I did just cast on the collar for this project because I am going to be taking it on our drive to see Leo's family for Thanksgiving, and we have about like a 5-hour drive. So I hope I get a lot of work done over the weekend, and yeah, I'm really excited. Leo's mom actually used to knit a lot, so she has a Swift and a yarn winder, and so I'm bringing all of my hanks to wind up there. I hand winded a light color and one dark color just so I had one for the car, but I don't think I will knit that fast, so hopefully I won't. But I'm really excited. I actually think I'm gonna kind of vlog the process because while we are going out of state to visit family, I am also going to visit a couple bigger local yarn stores over there, and also another one on the way back. I don't have too many near me, kind of sucks, and the Joann sucks over here, and you know, it's just nice to be able to feel the yarn and feel the fabric to get a better idea of what I like and what I don't like. The next thing I bought was the Knit Picks Wool of the Andes Sport Weight yarn in Sprinkle Heather and Haze Heather. So when I purchased this during their sale, I originally was going to use this for the Flurry sweater, and then I bought the pattern and realized, oh, I actually need a thicker yarn, idiot. I also didn't want to hold this double because I didn't want to have to buy more yarn, and so I am now using this to freehand a sweater. I just wrote up my pattern and did a whole bunch of math and figured it out, and I'm really excited. I am in love with these colors. I actually don't have a lot of purple at all. My favorite color is green and neutrals and earthy colors, and so this is me stepping out of the box. I love that the yarn has hints of red and blue in both of the skeins and colorways. And so I'm super excited. Like, this is very whimsy and I love it. And I'm super excited to show you what I'm knitting up. The next thing I purchased was the Rowan Kid Silk Haze mohair, and then also Debbie Bliss Angel mohair. On the websites, online, these were two completely different colors. This one, I thought based off of the photos it was going to be significantly lighter, and this one significantly more darker and magenta. When this got delivered to me, you do not know how disappointed I was. I was going to use this mohair to hold double with the other purple yarns, and obviously obviously it won't do anything for me. Another thing I messed up on was I did not buy enough. I only bought about 4 skeins of each, and so that unfortunately will not help me at all. And so now I'm like, what do I do with this? Do I make a Sophie scarf? Do I make a beanie? The only issue with that is I don't wear a lot of scarves, and I also am not very much a hat person. So let me know what you would do with all this mohair. That's essentially the same color, but they're not the same color. Thank you so much for watching my video, and nice to meet you. I decided I wanted to document my knitting journey via social media and YouTube because, you know, the process of making art is very much art in itself, and so I also wanted another creative outlet aside from just knitting. Back in 2017, I was a big fan of Emma Chamberlain, so I already have a camera and don't really do anything with it except take it to bars and take photos of me and all of my friends. And so I thought this would also be a very good use of it because my very kind mother purchased this for me in hopes that I'd make big YouTube money. Sorry to disappoint her 100 times again, but I found watching a lot of knitting podcasts and knitting YouTubers to be my favorite thing in the background when I am knitting, and it's very motivational, and seeing what other people make in their process only inspires me more. And so with me being an absolute beginner, I thought, why don't I share some of that inspiration with other people? Once again, thank you so much for watching this video, and nice to meet you. Also, happy Thanksgiving and happy holidays!